And now turning to Syria, we have seen the video of the thousands of people fleeing Aleppo. What happens to them next? Joining me now is David Miliband, the President and CEO of the International Rescue Committee. Thank you very much, David. Thanks for being with us.
Good to be with you.
They are, I presume, some are in Red Crescent camps, refugee camps, some in camps controlled by Russians. Are some heading to Idlib? I mean, is there any safety for these people?
Well, we've got people on the ground. The International Rescue Committee team that is nearest Aleppo is about 25 kilometers to the west in the Idlib governorate, near the Al-Dana town. The governorate as a whole has about 1.9 million people, and we're seeing we're expecting over the next 24 hours or so about 30,000 more people to come out of Aleppo. These are fearful and terrified people. Some of them are in protected areas, some of them are staying in the towns and cities, and obviously the great fear is that they've fled one version of hell in Aleppo, the bombing, the house-to-house murder that was reported at the end of last week, but they don't know whether or not the same vengeance is going to be taken in Idlib as well, because the tactics that were used by the Assad regime and the Syrian and Iranian backers, the great fear is that those tactics are used in Idlib as well.
And we now see today what I can only describe as a propaganda video put out by Turkey, by Erdogan, with the Syrian girl Bana, who with her mother Fatima had been tweeting and blogging from inside Aleppo, and now she's been taken from where we thought she was, in a rescue camp, a refugee camp, Red Crescent, and she's now in Turkey, thanking Erdogan for his support, sitting on his lap. I mean, I'd like to get your reaction to it, if you can see this video.
Yeah, obviously the big news overnight is that Russia, Turkey and Iran are meeting together without the US, without any Western powers, and they are the new rainmakers in the Middle East, or at least in this part of it. And the propaganda war is part of the effort. Obviously, it's important to remind your viewers that Turkey has got 2.7 million Syrian refugees in their own country. They've been there for 5 years. They've borne a very heavy burden. But the Turkish strategic aim in this conflict has changed in the last 6 months. From, on the one hand, trying to depose Assad, to now worried about the advance of the Kurdish forces in the north of Syria. And that's obviously changed the way they've engaged with the Russians, who are the preeminent global power on the ground at the moment. And you're seeing a new axis there which has survived even the assassination of the Russian ambassador on Monday in Ankara.
And it's quite amazing, considering everything that the UK and John Kerry for the US have done to try to push the political talks along, and have been blocked by the Russians at every pass. And now Moscow is convening these summits.
Well, I think that the worry is that the lesson that Russia will take, the lesson that Assad will take, is that force pays. The abuse of international humanitarian law pays. I never thought I'd be on this program discussing the bombing of a UN humanitarian aid convoy. That a member of the UN, Syria, should be the site of such unspeakable abuse of international humanitarian law. And there is a resolution being put to the General Assembly of the UN today calling for accountability for war crimes in Syria. The collective punishment of people in cities like Aleppo has been horrifying. But also, as the head of an NGO, I have to say, we've had 8 of our hospitals bombed in Syria this year, just in 2016. I want to know who gave the orders to bomb those hospitals. These are not underground hospitals. These are places above ground, marked on maps, that are giving emergency aid to civilians, and they get bombed. And that is the scene that we see at the end of 2016. So you can understand why the people coming out of Aleppo are worried that they've left one version of hell, but another one is coming. And I think it's incumbent on all of us, really, to make our own stand to ensure that the hell that was visited on the people of Aleppo doesn't transfer itself over to Idlib.
Well, thank you for everything that you and all of your teams are doing in the worst, most dangerous circumstances. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Andrea. Thanks for your interest.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.